There is a very specific smell that we have been conditioned to associate with success. It's that intoxicating mix of cured leather, off-gassing industrial plastics, and fresh carpet. We call it new car smell. To the average person, that scent is a signal. It tells the world that you've made it, that you're safe, and that you're responsible enough to sign a few papers and drive away in a 2-ton machine that gleams perfectly in the afternoon sun. But if you're a forensic accountant, or if you simply understand the brutal, uncompromising laws of compounding interest, that smell isn't success at all. It's actually the scent of burning money. It is the olfactory warning sign that you have just made the single most destructive financial decision of your middle-class life. It's a strange psychological paradox, isn't it? We will obsess over the price of a latte. We will spend an hour on the phone to cancel a $10 streaming subscription we don't use. We pride ourselves on being frugal in the small things. But then, without so much as a second thought, we walk into a dealership and sign a contract that commits us to paying $7, $8, or even $1,000 every single month for the next 7 years. We've normalized this behavior. We tell ourselves, well, everyone has a car payment. It's just a part of life, like paying for electricity or groceries. But that sentence right there, "it's just a part of life," is the precise lie that keeps the middle class permanently broke. A car payment isn't just another bill. It is a massive wealth transfer mechanism. It is a pipeline that systematically funnels millions of dollars out of your future retirement and straight into the pockets of auto manufacturers and big lenders. My name is Bill, and I spend a lot of my time dissecting the invisible chains that keep high-income earners living paycheck to paycheck. If you're someone who drives a beautiful car but feels a genuine knot in your stomach every time that payment hits your bank account, or if you're sitting there thinking about upgrading because you feel like you deserve it, you need to hear this. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, because today we are performing a brutal autopsy on the American obsession with the automobile. We're going to break down the total cost of ownership, the predatory math hidden in those 84-month loans, and the terrifying reality of what you're actually sacrificing. I'm going to show you the math that proves your truck doesn't actually cost you $50,000. In reality, it effectively costs you $2 million of your personal freedom. The fundamental problem is how we categorize these machines. We view cars as assets. We put them on our net worth statements. I own a $50,000 car. But a car is not an asset. By definition, an asset puts money into your pocket. A liability takes money out. A car is a liability that depreciates like a stone dropped in a lake. It is a consumer good, no different than a toaster or a pair of jeans, except it costs as much as a small house and requires constant, expensive feeding. The very second you drive that vehicle off the lot, the depreciation cliff hits you. You lose 10 to 20% of the value in the first 60 seconds. Just imagine if you bought a stock for $50,000 and 1 minute later you checked your portfolio to find it was worth $40,000. You would be sick. You would panic. You would swear off the stock market forever. Yet with a car, we do this voluntarily every few years. We don't just accept the loss, we celebrate it. We take pictures of the loss, put them on Instagram, and wait for people to congratulate us on our own financial destruction. The dealership model is designed to hide this reality from you, using every psychological trick in the book, making sure you're focused on the feeling of the drive rather than the math of the deal. The dealership model is a masterclass in psychological manipulation, specifically through a trick known as the Foursquare. When you sit down in that glass office, the finance manager doesn't want to talk about the total price of the car or the interest rate. They want to focus on exactly one thing: the monthly payment. What number are you comfortable with, they'll ask. That is the trap. By focusing solely on the monthly payment, they can manipulate the other variables, the term length and the interest rate, to fit any expensive vehicle into your budget. This is why we've seen the explosion of the 84-month, 7-year, or even 96-month car loans. They take a $60,000 truck that you clearly cannot afford, stretch the payments out over nearly a decade, and suddenly it looks affordable at $850 a month. But you aren't paying for a car. You are drowning in interest for a vehicle that will be rusting and breaking down before you even own the title. Now, I know what you're thinking. Bill, I need a reliable car. I can't have my family stranded on the side of the road in a beater. I hear you.
I'm not suggesting you ride a bicycle in a snowstorm. For most of us, a car is a necessity, but reliability and expense are not the same thing. The myth that you need to buy new to get reliable transportation is one of the most profitable lies the auto industry ever told. Some of the most reliable vehicles on the road today are 3 to 5 years old. The bugs have been worked out, the recalls have been handled, and the car has proven itself. A 3-year-old Toyota Camry with 40,000 miles is not less reliable than a brand new one. In fact, it's arguably better because someone else already absorbed that massive first-year depreciation hit. You get the same safety features and plenty of life for literally tens of thousands of dollars less. Let's dig into the true cost of ownership, or TCO. Most people look at the sticker price and stop, but that's just the entry fee. You've got sales tax, which vanishes instantly. Then you have the finance tax. At today's interest rates in early 2026, a $40,000 loan over 72 months will cost you nearly $9,000 in interest alone. That is pure profit for the bank. Then add in higher insurance for new vehicles, the maintenance of modern rolling supercomputers where a simple bumper sensor costs $1,500 to calibrate, and the depreciation.
Over 5 years, that $40,000 car will actually cost you roughly $70,000 to $80,000. And at the end of those 5 years, the car is worth maybe $15,000. You essentially lit $65,000 on fire to move your body from point A to point B. But the real tragedy, the number that should make you physically ill, is the opportunity cost. This is the ghost wealth you destroy every time you sign a lease. Let's run a simulation. The average car payment in 2026 is hovering around $730, but let's call it $800 to account for higher insurance. If you are 25 years old, and instead of buying a new car every 5 years, you bought a reliable used car for cash and invested that $800 monthly payment into the S&P 500 until you hit 65, do you know what you'd have? At an average 8% return, you'd be sitting on $2.7 million. Let that sink in. The decision to drive a new car didn't cost you $50,000. It cost you nearly $3 million in retirement wealth. You aren't driving an SUV. You are driving your beach house, your freedom, and your ability to retire 10 years early. When you see a luxury vehicle on a highway, don't feel envy, feel pity. That person is driving a $3 million liability, stripping the gears of their own future just to look rich in the present. This is the negative equity trap in action, where people roll old debt into new loans, carrying the ghosts of every bad financial decision they've ever made in their trunk. So why do we do it? Why are we so irrational when it comes to cars? It really boils down to 2 things: safety marketing and status signaling. Let's address safety first. Car companies have done a brilliant job of convincing us that if we don't drive a massive tank-like SUV with 47 airbags and every digital assist imaginable, we are somehow bad parents. They prey on our fear. But the data shows that safety innovations have largely plateaued. A 5-year-old car is statistically almost as safe as a brand new one, yet you're paying a 50% premium for a 1% increase in actual safety. It's a game of diminishing returns where your anxiety is being monetized.
Then there's status. The car is the ultimate public display of wealth. You can't wear your house to work, and you can't wear your investment portfolio to the grocery store, but you wear your car. In the world of the high earner who isn't rich yet, the car is the primary way we signal that we're doing well. We justify it by saying, "I work hard, I deserve this," or "I spend so much time commuting, I want to be comfortable." These are just rationalizations. You can be perfectly comfortable in a $15,000 used Lexus. You don't need an $80,000 Range Rover for comfort. You need it for validation. You are buying self-esteem with high-interest debt. And the irony? Nobody is actually impressed. When people see a Ferrari, they don't think the driver is cool. They just imagine themselves looking cool in that Ferrari. We're all just narcissists looking into mirrors, ignoring the fact that the person in the lane next to us is just as overleveraged as we are. And please, don't get me started on the leasing scam. It's often pitched as the smart way to drive. Get a new car every 3 years, never worry about maintenance. In reality, leasing is the most expensive way to operate a vehicle, period. When you lease, you are financing the steepest part of the depreciation curve. You pay for the car during the years it loses the most value, and then you hand it back right as the depreciation curve flattens out and the car actually becomes cheap to own. It is a subscription service for poverty. You are locking yourself into a permanent monthly payment for the rest of your life with zero asset ownership to show for it. In 2026, this is getting even worse with subscription features. Manufacturers are starting to charge monthly fees for heated seats or faster acceleration. They don't want you to be an owner, they want you to be a recurring revenue stream. So what is the solution? Do you have to drive our rusted-out beater from the 90s? No. There's a middle ground I call the sweet spot strategy. The depreciation curve is steepest in the first 3 to 4 years. By year 5, the car has lost about 60% of its value, but still has 80% of its life left. That is your arbitrage. You buy a 4 or 5-year-old car, let the first owner take the $25,000 hit, and then you drive it until the wheels fall off. If you keep that car for 10 years, the last 5 years are your golden period. That's when you have no payment and you can shove that $800 a month into your brokerage account to build that $2.7 million nest egg. You need to follow a strict rule, like the 23-8 rule. Put 20% down, finance for no more than 3 years, and keep the payment under 8% of your gross income. If you run those numbers on a $70,000 truck, you'll realize instantly that you can't afford it, and that's the point. It forces you into the $25,000 sedan where you actually belong if you want to be wealthy. This requires a massive ego death. You have to be okay with having the older car in the office parking lot. But remember, the person in the brand new Mercedes next to you is likely one layoff away from the repo man. You, in your 5-year-old Toyota, have liquidity. You have peace. Cars are tools, not extensions of your soul. Stop loving the new car smell and start loving the smell of a growing net worth. The next time you feel the urge to upgrade, ask yourself, is this shiny metal box worth $2 million of my future? The answer is always no. Would you like me to help you run the 23-8 math on a specific car you've been looking at to see if it actually fits your real budget?